The American Nightmare Before Christmas. 'Twas the week before Christmas, and out from my mouth came a warning to Cody that Shinsuke would pounce, while your daughter is nestled all snug in her bed, and visions of championship dance through your head. Shinsuke is plotting to live out your story, to ruin your plans and extinguish your glory. The nightmare is over, the nightmare is through. The mist bans its acts, for the nightmare is you. You bastard, you cancer, you prancer, you nibble. You vomit, you stupid, your father was inbred. My goal is to see that you are living in white. Merry Christmas to you. I will be your last fight.
All right. Pretty fun episode of Raw tonight. Shinsuke Nakamura. Hey, we got that on without a hitch. Yeah, Nakamura is great as a heel. It just makes you wonder why it took this long to not only capitalize, even with someone that's not speaking English. You know, we had this conversation 2 weeks ago. You know, who would have ever thought common sense by using subtitles you're forced to watch? You can't be sitting in the background, vacuuming a floor, doing other things, because unless you understand Japanese, you'd have no idea what Cody was saying. Yes, tonight he was talking English, but he was reading from a book. That was good, man. When he said that Dusty was an inbred, that was great, man. Shinsuke heel, I'm enjoying it. How's everybody doing? Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. It is Monday night, the 18th of December, 2023. Is Raw on next Monday? I mean, I know that they're getting the week off for the holiday, but are they taping Raw tonight? I'm a little curious. Okay, Mike from New York says they are taping Raw tonight. So we will be on next week. Now, let me give you a quick programming note regarding me with some upcoming shows. Number one, I will be on, let's see, Christmas Eve, which is Sunday of next week. There will be no show. I will do a show Saturday morning on normal schedule, which would be the 23rd of December. Sunday, Christmas Eve, I will not be home. I will be spending it with family. I will also be spending Christmas Day with my family, but I'll be home in time to do the Raw post show. And then New Year's Eve, I think we are going to do a special sit-down episode of New Year's Eve. We're not going to simulcast any video, maybe just the ball dropping. But yeah, we will do a special sit down on New Year's Eve. And for those that tuned in yesterday, I'm curious, legit, what was so different about yesterday's show that I got so much response from people saying that it was their favorite sit-down episode of the year? I mean, was there a particular moment or was just the casual convo? I'm very curious why people really went out of their way. I got quite a few emails and DMs today and a few public posts as well. Like, wow, yesterday, awesome. I don't know if we did any different, but, New Year's Day, no announcement yet as far as how we're going to handle New Year's Day. I think by this coming weekend, we will definitely know. I will post an announcement on the website, on YouTube, on Patreon, so everyone will know what is going to go on New Year's Day. As far as format-wise, there will be a show on New Year's Day. But as far as where it happens, who is on, and where we go forward with Mondays, I will let you know later on this week. But, tonight's Raw, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. And you know what was great about it? Very little CM Punk. Not the focal point of Raw. If you remember, and I hate to keep bringing that up, but going forward, you're going to see a lot of clips online so people could reference it instead of it being buried inside an episode. But I go back to the episode that Kevin and I did 4 or 5 weeks ago, then 2 days after CM Punk showed up at Survivor Series. For people out there that thought that CM Punk was going to be the main focus of WWE programming, whether it be Raw or SmackDown, was way off on this. WWE is going to use him similar to how they used Cody Rhodes when he first came in. Yeah, Cody debuted the night of WrestleMania 38, but made his return. But Cody Rhodes, when he came out on Raw, other than feuding with Seth Rollins for a little while, it wasn't the Cody Rhodes show where they opened up with Cody, replayed out at the end of hour 1 Cody, and replaying it again on hour 2 and then closing out with Cody. We will have episodes where CM Punk will be featured prominently, but to set the tone that CM Punk is a WWE superstar, not yet a regular main eventer. But I will tell you this. There is some discussion about having CM Punk wrestle on the Day One edition of Monday Night Raw. WWE is treating Day One very, very strong. I wouldn't say pay-per-view quality, but they are giving a decent quality of matches. And look, I've been on record for a couple of weeks now. We talked about it yesterday, and I'm sticking to it. I think Drew McIntyre is going to be World Heavyweight Champion. You cannot do the trifecta to Drew McIntyre. Yes, he was World Heavyweight Champion. Yes, he was our COVID champion. But you can't do Clash at the Castle and he fails. Then you do the whole build to Crown Jewel and he fails. And now he's feuding with Seth Rollins again. Drew, what makes you think that the outcome is going to be any different this time around? If Drew fails a third time, there is no champion in the background waiting to mock or make fun of Drew McIntyre, where Drew instantaneously shifts his direction to another champion and takes their title. It's certainly not going to be Gunther. It's certainly not going to be Roman Reigns, and I seriously doubt it's Logan Paul. I am really, really believing Drew McIntyre is going to be World Heavyweight Champion. And that will continue what we've been talking about with CM Punk. CM Punk will not fight for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. Title does not need to be involved in that feud. Contrary to 99% of the IWC saying otherwise, I don't think CM Punk will hold any type of WWE Championship until the summer of next year. I don't see it happening anytime sooner. I mean, I just don't see it happening. When Cody Rhodes feuded with Seth Rollins, it was a little different because he had not faced Roman Reigns as of yet. That was a build. and then Cody failed. But winning the tag team championship with Jey Uso, that was just a blip. And that was because of, you remember, the storyline progression. And as we expected tonight, Creed brothers, close, but no cigar. Creed brothers are legit. Creed brothers are developing right before our very eyes. In NXT, very, very raw talent, a little bit reckless at times. When they first came to the main roster with that match with New Day, you could see maybe it was nerves, maybe it was just, trying to do a little bit too much. They are now fitting in nicely, real nicely. And they gave the Judgment Day a run for their money today. Creed brothers will be tag team champions in 2024. Mark it down. It will happen. But as we also expected tonight, congratulations to Katana Chance and Kayden Carter. They are your new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. They defeated Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Did anybody notice two things tonight with Samantha Irvin? Anybody notice? Number one, Samantha Irvin, when she announced Chelsea Green, she didn't do her normal Chelsea Green. She just announced her regular. And that caught my eye right away. I was like, okay. That was different. And plus, we got to say it. I wrote this on Twitter and then I deleted it because I got to keep reminding myself that, unless you just say something really derogatory to WWE, or if you kiss somebody's ass, nobody is going to waste their time, acknowledging you or answering you. But I ask my family here, to all of you who is live, because you're the only ones that can answer the question at this particular moment. Was tonight the first time that Samantha Irvin ever announced R-Truth as a winner of a match? I mean, I get it. R-Truth was out with an injury. I get it. Samantha Irvin's been around for a little while. But is this the first time that Samantha Irvin announced R-Truth? I don't remember I don't remember Samantha Irvin ever announcing R-Truth as the winner of a match. Defeated JD McDonough. And, God bless the people online. I just don't know if they're just dumb. I just don't know if they're just ignorant, or if they just do it just to spark conversation for hits and views. People actually think that they're going to do skits with R-Truth in the ring with the Judgment Day because of the match tonight. People thinking that Judgment Day was legitimately going to abide by R-Truth's stipulation and kick JD McDonough out. People saying that R-Truth will be the one to tear the Judgment Day apart. Yeah, the most dominant faction not named the Bloodline in the last 2 years, and you're going to have a goofy, comedic person. I love R-Truth. You do not break up the Judgment Day because of comedy. Not after all of this time. People are just so gullible, unless, maybe they're just stupid. But, R-Truth defeating JD McDonough was a pleasant surprise tonight. And as I'm reading in the chat, nobody can recall R-Truth ever being announced as a winner from Samantha Irvin. It just felt different. It sounded different. Like, I don't remember hearing that before. But, we have the Christmas holiday coming up. So tonight was more of the Christmas spirit. R-Truth and JD McDonough having a Miracle on 34th Street fight. And it was a fun match. I mean, it really pressed all the right buttons. It's kind of reminiscent of Natalya and Chelsea Green's Trick or Street fight. It's the holidays, but I'm a little confused still with Imperium. Because Gunther, let me tell you something, man. Gunther and Miz, who would have ever, look, anybody that goes back to the Walter days, and you remember the epic matches with Ilya and others, who would have ever thought, honestly, that Gunther would have this much chemistry with the Miz? And I'm not knocking the Miz. I've been a fan of the Miz his entire career. My shows defend that. But I never in a million years, the way Miz, his safe matches, as people have said over the years, and he has described them as well, who would have ever thought that they would have this kind of chemistry? They really, really tore it up tonight. Unfortunately, Miz, as long as Gunther remains Intercontinental Champion, Miz will no longer be able to fight for the Intercontinental Championship as long as Gunther is champion. By the way, did anybody notice when Gunther yelled out in German? Now, I don't speak German, but if anybody saw this during the match tonight when Gunther did that, he said in German, I mean, I wrote it down, and he said something like, Wo sind die Dicken? Yeah. Wo sind die Dicken? Yeah. Which means, where are your big balls? Where are your big balls? That's what Gunther was saying tonight. But, man, they tore it up. I enjoyed the shit out of that match. And, skull-crushing finale off of the middle rope. Gunther with power bombs and, chopping. And, look, they did the rinse and repeat with Gunther chopping the ring post. And that told the story of the match. Once Gunther chopped the ring post, Gunther's hand was a liability. And Miz kept capitalizing on the hand, drop kicking the hand, just turning it into the skull crushing finale, hitting it in the ring, hitting it on the second rope. At points, the crowd was chanting, holy shit. They were chanting, this is awesome. I absolutely loved that match. I hope Miz and Gunther have more matches in the future. No titles on the line, but what does that say about Gunther? I mean, Gunther, people used to say that back in the day about Ric Flair or Bret Hart. Like, you can put them up against a mop and they'd be able to have a great match. Gunther is really starting to fall into that category as well. There are some people out there that it takes two to tango. Otherwise, their matches are not very good. I mean, have we ever seen Gunther have a bad match? I'm just really so into this guy. And I got news for you. When you saw the beginning of Raw tonight and they had the extended mix of Judgment Day's music when they opened up Raw and they were showing the matches that we were going to get tonight, very polite response to the women's tag team title match that was going to happen later. Very polite response to the Judgment Day versus the Creed brothers. But if you go back and you hear the crowd reaction to the Miz versus Gunther, crowd was buzzing. And they were into that. Des Moines, Iowa tonight was a great crowd. You could see they were in the holiday spirit. They were into everything tonight. Wasn't dead the whole night tonight. But we'll quickly recap Raw a little bit. I will give you the updated lineup for day one. This week in wrestling history, we got some doozies. This is week 51. This is the next to the last week in the series of This Week in Wrestling History. And there is, once again, a CM Punk reference. And maybe I'll share that with you in a moment. But before we do that, 3 quick wrestling tidbits as far as news go. Actually, 4. First off, I want to plug it again. If you haven't checked it out yet, I put it as a separate clip online so people could go right to my discussion with regards to Liv Morgan's arrest in Florida for possession of marijuana and possession of synthetic cannabinoids. I definitely recommend you check it out because unfortunately, all those websites that intentionally left out very important words with regards to why she was pulled over and what happened, they have not updated or corrected their articles. And unfortunately, also, the morons out there that thought that POSS stand for possibly instead of possession, they haven't fixed their stuff either. They just leave it up there. So if you want, honestly, I know I pat myself on the back sometimes, but I truthfully believe, bar none, we were the most fair and balanced and detailed as far as everything that happened. And at the end of the day, I felt that Liv Morgan got a little bit of a bad break. There are some big problems in Florida with regards to Spice and K2, whatever that shit is. And, Liv Morgan, remember this, and this is something that no one is really bringing up. Even the people that, because of their fandomhood and love for Liv Morgan, they altered the article to make it seem like free Liv. Oh, Liv was unfairly pulled over and arrested. They left out so many important details, but I will say this. No one is bringing up probably the most important factor out of everything. She was not arrested for DUI. She was not under the influence, and she was not arrested for reckless driving. That officer could have had every reason to arrest her for those infractions, But the only thing that she was arrested for is what was in the vehicle, not using it. Yes, the car smelled, but there was no signs of impairment. That's very, very important. And that's why I think at the end of the day, this is going to be chopped down to a fine. She'll have no driving infraction. Because look, one of them is a class 3 felony. One's a class 1 misdemeanor and one's a class 3 felony. Anytime you have a felony arrest, that's serious shit. She ain't going to get 5 years in jail. She's not going to get $5,000 fine. She's not going to spend any jail time. But still, this shit needs to be cleared up. So if you really want, look, if you want the pillow clickbait, half-fast story, go check out other people. Also, unfortunately, what we all feared has happened. On Friday's SmackDown, we heard Michael Cole mention that Charlotte Flair will be out of action for 9 months, approximately 9 months. We had the conversation on Saturday. If you look up knee and leg injuries, and you start looking at 9 months, we just talked about Amari Miller making her return to NXT. She was out 11 months with the torn knee. And once you hear 9 months with Charlotte Flair, that's not a bone bruise. That's not a hyperextension. That's her tearing up her leg. And today we found out that she tore her ACL, she tore her MCL, and she tore her meniscus. And to make matters worse, she got knocked a little bit loopy on her head as well. So Charlotte Flair legitimately will be out anywhere from 7 to 11 months. And with her ring style, especially if she wants to continue doing those moonsaults and everything else, it's not out of the question that we may not see Charlotte Flair return to the ring until the Royal Rumble of 2025. I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but that is a legitimate possibility. Best wishes go out to Charlotte Flair. Best wishes. That is just freak incident, and she's out of action for the extended future. Now, also, hopefully it's not very serious, but for everyone out there that is fans of CJ Perry, aka Lana, she is currently in the hospital. And, look, asshole DT from years ago could say, oh, how cute. Hey, honey, or nurse, do me a favor, take a picture of me. But wait, let me close my eyes and let me look like I'm in critical condition and then snap the photo and then I can put it online. That's my impression, because if I was in the hospital bed and I looked like that, I obviously wouldn't look as beautiful as her, but I would be like, oh, wait. Let me close my eyes. Let me look like I'm on my deathbed. Then take a picture. Let me scrunch up my hair and make it a little bit messed up. Let me look like that I'm at rest, that the lights are on, but nobody's home. She's got a serious infection in her hand. And no, that's not Brad Shepard's penis or that asshole from Ringside News, but that is her finger. She got a simple cut on her finger. And not only is it turned into a bad infection, let me tell you something. First of all, I know, people over the years who have had, digits cut off because of diabetes and because of infection. Now, CJ Perry is not a diabetic, but CJ Perry has got a serious infection right now, and she has to undergo surgery. So let's hope that, she recovers soon. And I think the worst thing that could happen is she can't give nobody the finger anymore if they cut that digit off. You could use the other hand, but she's not going to have a finger cut off. She's got a bad infection, and I know what they're going to do. They're going to open it up. They're going to clean it out. They're going to stick a giant needle inside that area, shoot up antibiotics, and hopefully she'll be, back in no time. So best wishes to CJ Perry. Best wishes. For those that are interested, we're not going to get into detailed ratings today. We'll do that on Saturday. I don't think we're going to do a Wednesday night Dynamite this week. AEW is doing their holiday bash, and the matches, I'll give you a preview later. NXT is already taped. Saturday, we had the conversation about Ridge Holland. Let's see how it plays out on Tuesday, and then we could elaborate on Saturday if we need to add anything to it. Once the holiday is over, then we could reevaluate how we handle Wednesdays. But for now, for those that are interested, with Raw's rating SmackDown's rating from Friday and Rampage's rating from Friday, very, very interesting. First off, Rampage did 308. That was the Rampage where the Von Erichs appeared, and they decided to main event once again with the Luchas. And how many weeks in a row? Is this 4 or 5 weeks in a row now that the Luchas are, jumping in the basement? They're at the bottom once again. Commander, El Hijo del Viqueños had the worst numbers of the shows, period, for the last 4 or 5 weeks. That just, hopefully PWI factors that in next year when they think that this guy should be number 1 or number 3. 308 they did on Friday. But SmackDown also, a little surprising. The week before was Tribute to the Troops. CM Punk's promo, Randy Orton, everything. Actually, that was the week before. Excuse me. Randy Orton, Jimmy Uso, AJ Styles returning, clotheslining LA Knight, setting up, what will happen next week. We didn't do spoilers on Saturday, but that SmackDown episode from this past Friday, 2,240,000. Interesting. Higher 2 weeks ago with CM Punk and Tribute to the Troops. That was higher than Friday. Higher the week before. My point, Roman Reigns returned. And the rating this week was lower than the week prior. Yeah, what am I saying? Yes, Tribute to the Troops was 2,384,000. Tribute to the Troops was 2,384,000. Roman Reigns' return this past Friday only did 2,240,000. And I think the quarter hour only did 2.4. Legit. I mean, Randy Orton actually outdrew Roman Reigns the last 2-3 weeks. Pretty wild. Usually when Roman Reigns makes a return, you see 2.6, 2.7, 2.8, 2.9. At some points, the trial of the tribal chief, and I think it was Roman 1000. I think they broke 3 million for his segments. This past Friday, his segments were only, his segment was only 2.4 million. Pretty interesting. Because remember, he closed out SmackDown as well. And that quarter hour was not the highest either. Randy Orton, I believe, dominated this week once again. So we'll get into the full details on Saturday, but I figured I'd give you the ratings for now. Later on, we'll do the full preview for this week in wrestling history. George W. Bush on Raw with Crime Time. Yeah, we got to revisit it when George W. Bush said that, that was controversial that night because they were talking about how he doesn't like black people. It's not that long ago that shit went down, but I know a lot of you were anticipating this. I think tomorrow is the anniversary. Tomorrow is the 9-year anniversary that CM Punk was on Michael Landsberg's TSN's Off the Record. And he was asking CM Punk about if he would ever consider returning to the WWE. And it obviously is relevant to today. But as you will see in the screenshot that I chose, CM Punk is drinking coffee. He's looking the other way. He's acting like a dick to Michael Landsberg. So if you want a little snippet of what CM Punk said 9 years ago, which I believe is tomorrow, this is what CM Punk had to say about a WWE return.
So you have said regarding the WWE that there's this is a quote, no working relationship and there never will be again. You know that there's almost no one who has walked away from the WWE or WWF back in the day and not gone back. Everyone, it seems. And one of your heroes, Bret Hart, went back even though the blood was so terrible between them.
Mm-hmm. Is that a question?
Yeah, the question was, how do you know? Actually, I think if you played it back, there would be a question. How do you know? How can you say that you're not going to go back when everyone, it seems, goes back?
Well, I don't know, because I can't tell the future, but I know myself and I know what's in here. And I have no desire to go back. I don't think they have a desire to see me back either. So, everybody's happy.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, it all comes full circle, and according to Vince, it's just business. I mean, this is a guy who has kissed and made up with people that, I mean, like in the case of Bret Hart, I mean, Bret felt like he killed his brother, yet eventually, you know, Bret went back. So, I mean, quote unquote, just business seems to be very powerful.
Sure, but, you know, my integrity is pretty powerful as well.
Your wife works for WWE still, right?
Yes, she does.
Is that how do you find that, given your public feud with Vince, and how you really called them out about the medical care that they offer their people? I mean, what's it like for your wife working for a company? Go.
This is taken out of context. I didn't mean to call anybody out. I simply told my story. I told the truth, and I told people what happened to me. It wasn't to call anybody out. I'm a passionate guy who lost the passion to do his job. And, you know, my intent wasn't to call anybody out. I've had plenty of conversations with my wife about her working there. And if she wants to work there, more power to her. You know, like we have separate careers, you know, and we'll continue to have separate careers. And we're stronger for that, for having understanding and supporting each other.
No, you say that you didn't call them up, but I mean, to be fair to my question, you did point out the fact that they are they have been irresponsible with the treatment of concussions, that they do what's best for them, and you pointed out the fact that you had a staph infection that went misdiagnosed to the point where you could have died, correct? Mm-hmm. So you may not.
All right, you can check out the rest of it later. I will say this. I would have loved for Michael Landsberg to interview Tony Khan, because I think Michael Landsberg might have pushed a little bit. I know this sounds a little ridiculous in 2023. I think Michael Landsberg would push a little bit more than Ariel Helwani. Ariel Helwani and Michael Landsberg are very similar, you know, in their interview styles. But I think Michael Landsberg would stay on it and stay on it and stay on it and reword the question and just stay on it and stay on it and stay on it. And if that person didn't want to answer, then that person will look like the dick. And CM Punk came off like a dick in this one. By the way, since R-Truth was a big deal from tonight's show, I'll give you one more history clip for now, and then we'll recap Raw, and then we'll finish the clips later and get out of here a little early tonight because of the holiday. But 8 years ago this week, I can't believe it's already 8 years. Who remembers the Slammies with R-Truth as a presenter? And as you see, he is with Paige, as you know now is Saraya. And you remember what happened with Steve Harvey and that beauty pageant? How the fuck is that already 8 years ago? Am I the only person here that says maybe that happened 4 years ago, 5 at the most? How is it that Steve Harvey and that pageant is over 8 years old? This week in history, R-Truth presented an award that Paige thought she won. And we'll use this as the segue of Raw tonight, because R-Truth thinks right now he is a member of the Judgment Day.
Here are the nominees for Diva of the Year.
Diva of the Year.
Nikki Bella, her record-setting reign as Divas champions at 301 days.
So tell me, how did you spend your year? You all begged for Divas Revolution, and I gave you one.
I want you to take a look at what a real Divas champion looks like.
Naomi's sick of being overlooked.
Sometimes a good girl gotta be bad in order to get things done.
She loves to talk trash, but she can back it up.
I'm about to run over any other diva who gets in my way. This is my house.
Paige believes she started the Divas Revolution. She believes she should be the champion.
When you're a true champion, there is no room for emotion or friendship.
I'm the baddest. I'm the meanest. I'm the boss of the WWE.
She is bold, brash.
I'm the NXT Women's Champion.
Sasha Banks may be the best of all the divas here in WWE.
You want to know why I am the boss? Just watch me.
Charlotte!
The daughter of the nature boy, Ric Flair.
One of the most athletically gifted women you will ever see.
I want to see her walk and accept the award now.
Charlotte's a champion.
I have a legacy to uphold, and we're going to do it with Flair.
8 years ago.
Y'all ready for this? And the winner for Diva of the Year is Paige!
Congratulations to Paige.
All right, come on, wrap it up. Speed it up. Speed it up. How long is this segment?
The woman who started the Divas
Okay, it's less than a minute left. It's ending.
I didn't have anything prepared because I didn't actually realize I was gonna win a Slammy today! Wow. Yeah, I just want to I actually want to say thank you. That's crazy. What?
Steve Harvey.
You were runner-up. You didn't win. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I made a mistake. I made a mistake.
Who is it?
I made a mistake. Diva of the Year is Nikki Bella.
Oh, fuck you. I forgot about that. Oh, fuck you. I completely forgot about that. Fuck you, man. Seriously. She's lucky I didn't eat dinner tonight. I'd probably fucking vomit all over the place. I have nothing against her personally. Let her just stay in Barmageddon purgatory for the rest of her professional career. Barmageddon. Yeah, so we got a little bit more later. Yeah, we got some wild stuff later on. We got Vader doing comedic stuff. We got John Cena with a weird rap from 2002. Roddy Piper flipping out backstage on Nitro. And what about this? What about that? I tell you, of all the mannequin heads that I've ever seen in wrestling, that is the wildest one I've ever seen. That shit looks so freaking real. That was epic, man. Epic. So that happened this week in history too. All right, let's open up a little bit of Raw discussion tonight. So we open up a little rinse and repeat. The Judgment Day run, Monday Night Raw. Damian Priest, all rise. Finn Balor says, the Creed brothers, you earned it. You ran the gauntlet. And while it's the biggest match of your careers and the biggest night of your lives, it's just another day, another night at the office for the Judgment Day. For him and Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley addresses Ivy Nile that if she runs her mouth again, she will do to her what she did to Maxine Dupree. The Judgment Day ran Monday Night Raw in 2023, and they will continue to do so in 2024. And as soon as Dominic opens his fucking mouth, R-Truth music hits. R-Truth hits the ring, and R-Truth is talking about how, the beatdown last week, he realizes that was initiation. And by the way, R-Truth had a custom shirt tonight wearing the Judgment Day. And yeah, he thinks that he's actually in Judgment Day. So he's talking to all the guys, and JD McDonough tells R-Truth to get out of the ring. And R-Truth says, everybody looks like they're looking for a fight. And he starts staring at JD McDonough, and he proposes a Miracle on 34th street fight tonight. And JD McDonough is like, that was already announced earlier. What are you talking about? So R-Truth adds an additional stipulation. How's about the loser leaves Judgment Day? Damian Priest finds it funny. And Damian Priest says, that's a good idea. JD McDonough versus R-Truth. Loser leaves Judgment Day. So we get a little bit of a stare down between both guys. We get the match. It goes down. And lo and behold, R-Truth pins JD McDonough. Look at Dominic Mysterio's reaction in the background. We had a lot of comedy in this match. We had tables, fire extinguishers, presents being used as weapons. it was your typical, street fight that WWE does around the holiday season. At one point, a little comedy where R-Truth, because he thinks he's in Judgment Day, he high-fives Dominic Mysterio, and he's hugging Dominic. He's like, yeah, look what we did. And Dominic throws him into the corner and, starts being a dick, little chicken shit heel. But R-Truth, showing, that he could still go. And I got news for you. Tozawa, I got something to say about Tozawa later on. I did not like that match at all with Ivar. And there's one reason why, and I'll explain later on. But R-Truth, more tributes to John Cena, hits the AA, and then R-Truth sends Jaden McDonough to the floor, gets a Christmas tree, hits him with the Christmas tree. Then R-Truth puts Jaden McDonough, he gets a table, and McDonough fights back, and the table obviously comes into play if you saw the pin. He grabs R-Truth, and they both fall back in the table. So R-Truth technically did not pin Jaden McDonough. They just fell backwards on the table, and they were both knocked out, and Jaden McDonough is pinned. So now, if you base R-Truth's stipulation, he is in the Judgment Day, Jaden McDonough is out of the Judgment Day. And again, like I said earlier, very, very cute online. People cannot be that fucking stupid. If you want to play into R-Truth's, ignorance, I honestly thought R-Truth should come out tonight dressed like an Easter bunny or maybe something with turkey. Like, I don't think he should have proposed a Christmas street fight because, if you think of R-Truth's character, he always gets the dates and the events wrong. But he wins the match, and Michael Cole's like, is Jaden McDonough really out of Judgment Day? Is R-Truth the Judgment Day? Now, if you notice later on in the night, they did no skits, 0 skits with R-Truth, with the Judgment Day hanging out, thinking that he's in with it, because he's not. He's not. R-Truth could think whatever he wants. People were taking it seriously online, thinking that Jaden McDonough is out of the Judgment Day and R-Truth's in, and R-Truth is going to cause, even more dissent. No, it's just for tonight. That's all it was. And sure enough, later on, Jaden McDonough, I know I'm going a little bit ahead, but it's definitely worth mentioning. Jaden McDonough is backstage with them, and, he's like, please don't let me out of the Judgment Day. And Damian Priest having fun with it. Hey, you lost. You're out of the Judgment Day. And Rhea Ripley getting into Damian Priest. That friction with Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest continues. It is going to lead to a boiling point, and that's when Damian Priest exits the Judgment Day. The only question is, does Damian Priest walk out on his own, or does the Judgment Day kick him on the way out? But, Jaden McDonough is like, please don't take me out of the Judgment Day. And Rhea Ripley, of course you're still in the Judgment Day for now. And Damian Priest even agrees. You're in the Judgment Day for now. But Rhea Ripley, this is when later on in the night she announces that she's going to take on Ivy Nile on day one. And, look, when we get to the women's tag team championships tonight, I see it only going in one direction. And I think a lot of you are probably thinking what I am thinking. I know Triple H tonight posted a picture of him pointing to both champions. And look, it is definitely acknowledgement. WWE finally decided to do something with Katana Chance and Kayden Carter. Ever since they've been on the main roster, I thought that they have been very, very underwhelming. Not necessarily their fault. If you remember, almost immediately, WWE started putting them in singles matches, and they were getting squashed. They were on main event quite a bit, some dark matches as well. It's the WWE's fault for not giving them momentum. I ask you, was the crowd more into the fact that they won, or were they more into the fact that Chelsea Green and Piper Niven lost? There is a difference there. Kayden Carter and Katana Chance are extremely talented. Definitely earned the promotion to the main roster. And again, I will say this 1,000 times over. Their momentum in the WWE, or the lack thereof, was not to their doing. It wasn't their fault. It was WWE creative, and they were just there. like when they first came in, you thought, okay, they have a match, they come close, they kind of like what they're doing with the Creed brothers right now. What they're doing with the Creed brothers, they did not do with Katana Chance and Kayden Carter. It's just, I know this might sound a little bit rough on Katana Chance and Kayden Carter, but I guess we can mention the match now since we're talking about it. We followed them every week in NXT. And even the commentators tonight said that they lost for a year straight in NXT, and then they slowly started putting together, and they did. I remember when Katana Chance was Casey Catanzaro, which is her name, and when I think she was dating Ricochet at the time. And look, I don't care about personal relationships. That's their business unless they make it public. But it felt like Katana Chance or Casey Catanzaro was trying to do her best impersonation of Ricochet. Like she was just doing athletic moves just to do them because she knows she could do them. And it really wasn't telling a story in the ring. Slowly, they started putting it together. And they started doing moves because it had damage. It caused damage to their opponent. They didn't just do it because it looked cosmetically great. That's the problem I think Alexa Bliss had a lot. Remember when Alexa Bliss would do all these flips and then she landed on an opponent and it's like she wouldn't even break an egg if she landed. And that's not because of talent. It's because it just looked weak. And that's just because she did more about gymnastics than anything else. But in my honest opinion, since they've been brought up to the main roster, how this feels to me is that the way they portrayed Katana Chance and Kayden Carter the last 2-3 weeks and how they won tonight, that we should be behind them because they're likable. They're good. Like let's party with them. That's how it felt. I remember when they gave the belts to La Resistance. If anybody remembers when La Resistance won the tag titles, I still have that episode too. I remember Kevin and I having a conversation that night. And we both said the same thing, that it felt like they put the belts on La Resistance to elevate them. Not because they earned the tag titles, but to use the belts to try to elevate them. And, that's not really the greatest formula. And it felt like, okay, let's elevate Katana Chance and Kayden Carter by giving them the belts. Why? Because, and here's where it gets even dumber, in my honest opinion, just to show you how much regression has gone on in the women's division. Listen, 2023, when we look back at 2023, this was a fun year to be a wrestling fan. I mean, despite some of the AEW controversy, a lot of shit went down in AEW this year that was definitely worth talking about. A lot of shit went down in the WWE, Raw, SmackDown, NXT. Some memorable nights going against each other, outside the ring antics. There was a lot of 2023 to enjoy. But I think we can agree that if there's any negative, that the Raw women's division and the women's tag team division has really, really regressed. We have no more NXT women's tag team champions. You had Alba Fire and Isla Dawn doing a great job in NXT. You bring them to the fucking main roster and they unify the titles with Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, and then they fucking disappear. And then for the last bunch of months, we see dark videos, with Fire and, all this teasing, and they've done nothing on the main roster. Why not just fucking leave them in NXT with the tag titles so the women that are fighting in NXT feel like they have a title to go up against, not just one title held by Becky Lynch, Tiffany Stratton, Lyra Valkyria. The women's division in the WWE, the tag team division and the Raw women's division has regressed in 2023. And I'll give you a great point to this. This match was a fun match. Towards the end of the match, Chelsea Green hits the unprettier, only gets a 2 count, and she is shocked to shit over it. And then you see Piper Niven during the match, a couple of faux pas. She accidentally splashes, Chelsea Green. But towards the end of the match, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven hit the lung blower senton combination. Katana makes the save. Kayden Carter hits Piper Niven with a super kick. Then he hit the finisher. And next thing you know, the tag team champions. And, like I said, was the crowd into it more because they won or because Piper Niven and Chelsea Green lost? And, to add a little bit of, let's support them. We have Kofi Claus hanging out with them in the back, and the women and wrestlers are congratulating them. And then we see this. We see Sonya Deville and Zoe Stark, and they're talking to Natalya and Tegan Nox. And they're discussing who's the number one contenders for the tag team championships. Didn't we just have a fucking match a week or two ago where Katana Chance and Kayden Carter beat Natalya and Tegan Nox? Not even 2 weeks later, they're getting a number one contenders match for the tag titles. It just goes to show you how bad this women's tag team division has become. So I think Chelsea Green and Piper, and let's also remember how they became tag team champions. Sonya Deville got injured. Did I say Sonya Deville? With Zoe Stark, Shayna Baszler. I don't know why I had Sonya Deville on the brain, but Sonya Deville, she was the tag team champion with Chelsea Green. And Sonya got injured. And Piper Niven says, doing a Georgie Animal Steel, mine. It's mine. You have a fucking problem with it? It's mine. Oh, no. You going to finish that? She took the belt and she's a champion. That's how they've had their run. I think they've done a good job, but let's not forget how Piper Niven became a tag team champion. Now you have Tegan Nox and Natalya having a match on day one to determine the number one contenders, where they just had a match a week or two ago to determine the number one contenders. In my honest opinion, Triple H could point this way. He could point this way up their ass. As much as Katana Chance and Kayden Carter have done great in NXT, and definitely, if pushed the right way, I have no issue with them winning the tag titles, in my honest opinion. The only reason why they became tag champions right now is because in the very near future, they're going to drop those titles to these two women. I think Asuka and Kairi Sane as the Kabuki Warriors are going to beat the balls off of Katana Chance and Kayden Carter. And we're going to get similar what they did with the Bloodline, similar what they did with the Judgment Day, that in order for factions, this is what WWE has been doing for a while now, in order for factions to be looked at as superior, dominant, and memorable at points, there has to be multiple titles in the faction. You have right now Io Sky still is the champion. Obviously, Bayley is not holding a championship anytime soon, but it was not that long ago that Damage Control had the tag team titles. But now you have Kairi Sane back and you have Io Sky back, Asuka in the group. I think Katana Chance and Kayden Carter are just keeping it warm for the Kabuki Warriors. I think that's because Kabuki Warriors, they weren't going to fight Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. They're heels. So are the other two. They don't want the crowd to cheer for either group. So you put it on the nicest, cutest, happiest baby faces. So when the Japanese Yakuza comes in and kicks them in the head and takes the titles, you'll have Asuka on social media going, oh, Cry Me River. That's where I think that's going. I think that's the only reason why they got the tag titles. So, but congratulations to them. And we got the number one contenders match, Tonight, Akira Tozawa goes to Adam Pearce and for some reason wants a specific match. And Adam Pearce grants it. you really want this? And Tozawa says yes. So what does Akira Tozawa say? Oh, yeah. I want to give Ivar his first win in God knows how long, because people have figured out that Ivar is a lot of smoke and mirrors right now, and not because of segments with fire and weapons and Valhalla and, Viking shit. It's smoke and mirrors because Ivar is lost and lost and lost and lost. So Akira Tozawa has a match with Ivar tonight, and I swear to God, if you didn't see that match, this match was great. Akira Tozawa reminds everyone how good he is. Akira Tozawa can go. There's no question. The problem is, you have Akira Tozawa fighting for like 6-7 minutes against a monster that should eat him up, shit him out, eat him again, and shit him out a second time, and not even be fazed by it. And they're having a 7-minute match. That's my only problem with it tonight. Akira Tozawa should have chose, in storyline, if you want him to go 5, 6, 7 minutes, use someone where it seems a little bit more even. To see Ivar struggling that much. And listen, if you go back and you watch this match, this was not the Rhea Ripley template. Remember when Rhea Ripley took on Tozawa? And you had all those morons online. They're bringing intergender matches. Finally, intergender matches are coming back to the WWE. Finally, we're going to get... No, advertisers don't want that. It hasn't happened since. But if you remember that match, how did Akira Tozawa get offense? By moving out of the way every time Rhea Ripley tried to hit him with something. That offense by defense. This was not a case where Ivar, whoa, and he runs into the corner and Tozawa runs away. You had a little of that, but you had Tozawa hitting moves, sentons, and I'm looking at this, I'm like, why are you doing this to Ivar? Ivar is looking like an Oompa Loompa in this match. I mean, in the end, obviously the right person, right person won. Tozawa gets to the middle rope, thinks he's going to hit a Hurricane Rana on Ivar, and Ivar catches him. Tozawa's upside down, looks like he saw, like his mom naked, and he had the whites of his eyes, and Ivar just gives him a slam off the middle rope, pins him. It was a great match. But why Ivar? That's my only problem with it. Why? There's been so much smoke and mirrors with Ivar, and then he struggles against Tozawa. Please don't let this go to comedy. I got a bad feeling this is go to comedy. You had a little bit again tonight with Valhalla and Maxine Dupree, where Valhalla, she runs and Maxine moves out of the way, and it looks like a bad cartoon, and Valhalla just splashes into the side of the padding along the ringside area. We had some of that. Remember, it wasn't that long ago where they had a match against each other. But I personally think, Ivar was the wrong person to choose. Now, we saw Bronson Reed with Adam Pearce about Gunther's next challenger. Now, January is approaching very quickly. That means Elimination Chamber is less than 6 weeks away. Elimination Chamber, if I remember correctly, is the first week in February. Bronson Reed will be prominently featured at Elimination Chamber. Now, the question is, does he take on Gunther in a rematch, or does he fight in the Chamber match itself? I don't know if Bronson Reed is the next challenger to Gunther is the right way to go. I think Gunther versus Ludwig Kaiser is still being prepped. But to go back to Bronson Reed leading into January, the Royal Rumble, where he's going to have an impressive showing, and then Elimination Chamber, I don't know how I feel about this. And remember last week, CM Punk bumped into Kofi. You're making me crazy. I don't do that anymore. Kofi was with Chad Gable. Kofi was with Ricochet. And they were having conversations with Adam Pearce about the Intercontinental Championship. So it seems like they're leading to either another tournament or another fatal four-way or something to determine Gunther's next challenger. So I don't think it's Bronson Reed and it's not Gable or Ricochet. Someone is going to come out of nowhere and get the opportunity. Sami Zayn will be back soon, but not right away. Maybe Sami Zayn, if he's healed up, that he returns, and maybe Sami Zayn is the next in line to fight Gunther, have a legitimate feud. That actually would not be a bad idea. But as we saw tonight, let me tell you something. Gunther versus The Miz tonight. Well, first, before we even got that, we had Kofi Claus making appearances all through the night, giving toys to kids. He's in the back with Katana Chance and Kayden Carter. He gives a Yeet shirt to DIY for Johnny Gargano's kid. Johnny Gargano's looking at him like, oh, that's for my kid? What do you think? My kid eats fucking the Yokozuna diet? My kid is like 1/10 of the size of this shirt. I actually saw people online doing recaps like, oh, Kofi Claus gives Johnny Gargano a shirt for his son. And I'm like, his son? What do you think? His son is the size of a horse? His son is like 2. Yeah, and he gives him a Yeet shirt, obviously just for comedic purposes. But The Miz took on Gunther. And if there's any picture from tonight's match that says it all, it's this. Gunther escapes, and Gunther had, if you thought the last match with Miz was good, this took it to a different level tonight. Gunther and Miz, I enjoyed every aspect of this match. In the back, Miz is with DIY earlier on, and Miz thinks, that he's rattled Gunther a little bit. Gunther feels the pressure, and he's going to become a 9-time Intercontinental Champion. Obviously was not going to happen, but the story was Gunther beating the fuck out of Miz early on, not taking him seriously, chops the ring post, and Gunther's hand is injured, and that's the story for the rest of the night. Gunther would try to hit some moves, favor the hand, couldn't do it. Miz would try to capitalize. Miz kicks the hand at times, goes for the skull-crushing finale a couple of times, hits it the first time, gets it 2 3/4, hits it from the middle rope, and the crowd is chanting, holy shit. Gunther rolls out of the ring to a monster chorus of boos, because people actually started thinking, holy shit, can Miz possibly pull this off? Miz, Gunther had a war. But towards the end of the match, Gunther starts to get the upper hand. You could feel the tide turning despite the hand. Gunther hits him with a powerbomb, hits him with another powerbomb, chops the shit out of him. Actually even hit a Rainmaker. For all you Okada fans out there, Gunther hit a Rainmaker tonight. Gunther, towards the end of the match, eats a skull-crushing finale off the middle rope, rolls out of the ring, no pin attempt, because honestly, nobody should get up from that. And as Miz rolls Gunther back in the ring, Gunther immediately hits Miz with a powerbomb, hits him with a vicious clothesline, and hits him with another powerbomb for the win. But this was an absolute battle. Just really, really told the story. Miz's reactions to some of the shots. Gunther, as I showed you earlier, when he's like, where's your big balls? What happened to the big balls? Everything about this match was great, and the crowd loved it. And, what could you say about The Miz? Is Miz good as a babyface? No. Have I always been a fan of The Miz? Yes. Do I prefer Miz as a heel? Yes. But one thing that I really enjoy right now is that The Miz, for a little while, gets to soak in the appreciation from the fans. I compared it to John Cena, not on the level of stardom and, where they rank, but, John Cena, when he became the United States champion and had that U.S. Open challenge, and he was fighting Sami Zayn, he was fighting Kevin Owens, and he had the matches with AJ Styles, and he fought others, and you saw Cena working his ass off. Cena doing moves off the top rope you never saw him doing. Cena's working and not just doing the 3 moves of doom. And you could see people just starting to say, you know what? Got to give this guy credit. Guy doesn't have to do this. He's helping a lot of the young guys, the guys that are trying to get to the next level. And to me, that was the turning point of Cena with the appreciation from the crowd. Difference is Cena for, 17 years, 18 years was always a baby face. Miz was not. So Miz never got that opportunity to be able to soak in the appreciation, the cheers, the accolades. So for a little while, Miz gets to enjoy this. I don't think him as a babyface will last all that long. Remember, one of the reasons why they turned him babyface was because they needed another opponent for Gunther. You look at the Raw roster, there's not that many people, that you can choose. And yes, there's, wrestlers that Gunther hasn't faced, but you're not having Finn Balor go up at him. You're not having Damian Priest. You sure it's not going to have Dominic Mysterio, although some people would love to see Gunther chop the shit out of Dominic Mysterio. So Gunther does not have a plethora of opponents right now. So Bobby thinks that they might work the stipulation where the Miz can't challenge for the IC title again, work around that stipulation. I don't think so. I think this was the Miz. Listen, if you follow the formula with Gunther, they did the same formula with Chad Gable. They did the same formula with others, where Gunther feuds for like 3-4 weeks, and then that's it. We move on. So, they did not do that stip with Chad Gable. They did it with the Miz. I would love for them to revisit it. In fact, the easiest way to do it? Miz could still get under the skin of Imperium, and Gunther goes to Adam Pearce. Adam, I want the Miz. Oh, but the Miz can't shot. I don't care. Let them have a title shot. I want the Miz. You could see that easily. If Tozawa could go up to Adam Pearce and say, I want him, and it'd be Ivar, Gunther could tell Adam Pearce, I want the Miz. If Gunther wants the Miz, Gunther can have the Miz. But, maybe it's best kept for house shows. I expect you will see Gunther versus Miz on house shows. You'll get a couple of morons online. Oh, I thought the Miz couldn't fight for the title anymore. They're doing it on house shows. If it's a good match, why do you care? Right? After the match is over, Kofi Claus bumps into Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci, gives Ludwig Kaiser a piece of coal. You got to be a good guy all year long. Otherwise, you get coal. That would come into play a little bit later on. After Gunther's match, we see him in the back, and he walks up to Vinci and Kaiser. They're clapping for Gunther. Gunther feels like he's the only one earning his keep in Imperium. That he feels that Vinci and Kaiser have had a year to write off, that they have not had a good year. Actually, Kaiser's had a pretty damn good year, but perception is supposed to be the opposite right now. So Gunther leaves the building, but Gunther tells Vinci and Kaiser, you stay here, not just tonight, you stay here and prove your worth. I'm going to take a few weeks off. Gunther is being allowed to spend the holidays with family. Gunther will be off TV till 1/1, maybe 1/8. So Gunther will be off TV for 2 to 3 weeks. But in the meantime, Gunther wants Vinci and Kaiser to prove their worth. Didn't do a very good job tonight because early Kofi gives Ludwig Kaiser a little bit of coal. Later on in the night, we have Kofi Claus out there giving gifts again. And here comes Imperium. They beat the crap out of Kofi. They rip the beard off. And Wade Barrett making me laugh tonight. That's Kofi Kingston. It was funny the way he did it, though. But here comes Jey Uso to make the save. And Jey Uso chases him out of the ring. And then he's looking at Ludwig Kaiser. I want the pretty boy. So we go to commercial. We come back. We get a match between Jey Uso and Ludwig Kaiser. Very even match. Towards the end of the match, Giovanni Vinci getting involved, almost costing Jey Uso the match. And here comes Kofi Kingston, selling the beat down from earlier. hits Vinci with the Trouble in Paradise. That distracts Ludwig Kaiser, which allows Jey Uso to hit Kaiser with a spear, preceded by a splash. 1, 2, 3. Jey Uso pins Ludwig Kaiser. So they close out 2023 not on a very good note. Did not please Gunther. So, yes, Merry Yeetmas to everybody out there. But, so we've had a pretty fun night so far. 2 other things we got to talk about is Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins, and Nia Jax and Becky Lynch, and obviously the main event tonight, which was a hell of a lot of fun. Creed Brothers definitely will be tag team champions in 2024. You could see it. It's happening. But first, let's talk briefly about Becky Lynch, Nia Jax. Nia Jax comes out there, and, timing was a little bit off. She's in the ring. She's not saying anything. And right before she says something, Becky Lynch's music hits. So Becky Lynch comes out there, and Becky Lynch has a little bit of an exchange with Nia Jax. And Becky Lynch, Nia Jax says you're here just in time. I was just going to announce to everyone that I'm entering the Royal Rumble. And Becky with the cute, remarks, no one cares you're entering the Royal Rumble. Nobody cares that you're here tonight. And, they remind us that they've never had a match against each other. And Nia Jax says that the reason why we've never had a match against each other is because of the fans. They're afraid of what I do to you. So Becky, being on the side of the fans, it's not because of them, but it's because you are preventing us from having a match, from fighting each other. So we get, honestly, I didn't like this segment all that much. It kind of fell flat. Becky Lynch wants to fight tonight. She wants to brawl with Nia Jax, and Nia Jax says, okay, you want it so bad? Okay, referee. Let's get a referee out here. And usually, whenever we see that on WWE television, when a referee comes out there, it's usually instantaneous. When 2 people are having a confrontation in a ring and somebody says, let's get a referee, literally there's a referee like 3 seconds later, and it's usually Mr. Bean or that little chubby Japanese guy or whatever his name is. I can't remember his name, Kung Fung. But one of them comes out there within 3 seconds. Today, Nia Jax is like, let's get a referee. No referee. Nothing. Awkward silence. Nia exits the ring. And Nia is like, you want it so bad, we do it on my terms. 2 weeks in my hometown, January 1. And after I'm done with you, and you're in the hospital with your daughter, and your daughter looks at you and says, Mommy, why do you look uglier than you usually are? And that's it. Sets off Becky Lynch. You went over the line. By the way, speaking of over the line, I got to share with you something later that, and I'm not saying this as any clickbait bullshit, but for 24 years, I never ever thought about something. And tonight I heard a clip, and I know for a fact 24 years ago, I never ever put the two together. And I have a feeling none of you did as well, but I got to ask you a question. It involves Bobby Heenan. It's something that he said in 1999 this week. We'll get into it in a moment. I have the clip. But sets off Becky Lynch over the line. They start brawling, and we now know in 2 weeks on day 1, we will get Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax. Just feels like it kind of fell flat. One fall, we've talked about Dexter Lumis the last 3 weeks. Dexter Lumis is off TV. WWE is just not using him. Omos will be back shortly. Omos was actually doing a lot of diplomatic stuff outside of the WWE. And Apollo Crews has been doing a lot of main event matches. Apollo Crews, they have not used on TV all that much. But Dexter Lumis, we've talked a few weeks about. In fact, it was funny today. If you look around, everyone, you'll see some news sites. Update on Dexter Lumis. I swear to you, save your time. You click on it, you know what it says? There is no update. That WWE can bring him back whenever they want. That's not a fucking update. That's not an update. We already knew that. Dexter Lumis, they're just not using right now. So we have the confrontation with Nia Jax and Becky Lynch. You know, okay, but it feels like something is missing. It doesn't feel like a 5-year buildup. It doesn't feel like, oh, you know, the man became created because Nia bloodied her up and I finally get my hands on her. It just feels a little bit too organized. There should have been fucking chaos. You know, personally, when Nia Jax first made a return, you could have Becky Lynch trying to get at her. Come on. You want a piece? Come on. Have the referees all pull her back. Build up that tension that she wants it that bad. You come back, I'm the first person that you're going to face. And Adam Pearce refuses to let it happen. And if they touch each other, then they're suspect. You could have done anything like that. But it's too relaxed. It's especially sometimes when Nia comes out and Becky Lynch comes down to the ring and she's got a smirk on her face and Nia's kind of like smiling a little bit. It's just like, you know, I'd be angry. Even if it's confident smile, like, oh, I'm going to fuck you up. It just felt too pleasant. You know, and just because I want to fight you tonight, you know, that doesn't mean, it doesn't feel like the tension that it should have. We did have a quick recap of last week with CM Punk. Nothing really to add to it, but what I thought was an excellent segment tonight. Excellent segment. After we had a little recap of last week with CM Punk and Seth Rollins, they announced that Seth Rollins is going to hit the ring. Now, this was right before the commercial break, and I'm zooming in because for everybody out there that's like, oh my God, Triple H, he's doing an amazing job with Dragon Lee. There's probably about 10 other people that we could say Triple H is doing a shit job with. And now Nikki Cross is scoping out Seth Rollins. All right, for people that didn't see it. Honestly, if I'm Nikki Cross, I have the greatest job in the world right now. All I got to do is just troll, you know, like just lurk in the back, be creepy, just like show up. Nikki, we want you to just like stand in the corner, freeze, just do nothing. Getting paid to listen. If she ends up getting released and she feels that WWE totally misused her, just keep in the back of your mind how much money she has made over the last year acting like she's on some type of catnip. If you look at, she went from almost a superhero to literally like disheveled, and then now she's on catnip all the time. Honestly, give me that fucking job. Give me that job. I don't even have to wrestle. Seriously, she don't even have to wrestle. You could have used that gimmick on somebody that wrestles like shit and could have done just as good of a job. Why would you waste Nikki Cross on a character like that? And I'm complimenting Nikki Cross right now. Nikki Cross can go. And they turn her into this, where they should be doing that to somebody that probably can't go as good. I would have done that with Dana Brooke. Do you remember when I said Dana Brooke, they should make her come out and look almost like she's like from Kensington, Pennsylvania? Like she just lets herself go, no makeup, everything smeared, looking all disheveled. I would have Dana Brooke doing all that. She don't have to wrestle. She just go out there and just, you know, look like she's, you know, on something all the time. But Seth Rollins has a segment with Drew McIntyre. And after this segment tonight, strengthens what I've been saying for several weeks now. I think Drew McIntyre is going to become World Heavyweight Champion January 1. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm not reporting news. I just feel when you look at the Drew McIntyre character, third time is not a charm. You cannot have him fail at Clash at the Castle. You cannot have him fail at Crown Jewel. You cannot have this total repackaging of Drew McIntyre as a heel and a monster heel, beating the crap out of Jey Uso, putting Sami Zayn on the shelf, getting Seth Rollins for the second time in a couple of months, and he fails again. Where do you go from here? He already feuded with Gunther, already feuded with Sheamus, already feuded with a quiet. Where do you go from here? You can't turn him babyface anytime soon. He just turned heel. And at times, he's not acting like a heel. When he said what he said tonight about his family, Seth Rollins, like, I don't know if I should take your word for it or think you're full of shit for the most part. Drew McIntyre tonight cut a promo that I honestly think some people in the crowd were not listening because I don't think it sunk in, but people online, they couldn't believe how powerful it was. Seth Rollins talks about last week and what he said. Then he reminds us all that in 2 weeks at Day One, he's taking on Drew McIntyre, and he wants to be the greatest world champ of this industry, and he thinks that 2024 is going to be a better year than 2023, and Drew McIntyre shows up. Drew first praises Seth Rollins. I'm proud of you. You didn't kiss CM Punk's ass. He didn't kiss CM Punk's ass. Didn't kiss up the CM Punk. He is proud of Seth Rollins for doing that. But then Drew McIntyre starts talking about his parents. And he talks about the failures that he has had. And he brings up Becky Lynch. He actually says Becky by name. And he says that Becky has been in the exact same situation of being far away and sacrificing for family. And that Seth Rollins has been part of both the good and the bad of those conversations. And that his own family had told Drew to keep making those sacrifices. Then Drew says, now my parents are not here anymore. Some of those family members are not here anymore. And that's powerful, man. Because Drew McIntyre is basically saying, I made all these sacrifices for myself, for my family, staying away. And my family kept saying, keep doing those sacrifices, keep giving those sacrifices. And now they're no longer here. I need to know if the sacrifices I made were worth it. That's fucking deep shit, man. I know it's wrestling and I know we're not supposed to feel that deep, but that's deep shit. That's why even more of a reason Drew McIntyre is your world heavyweight champion on January 1. Because he says to Seth Rollins tonight, I don't want your title. I need your title. I need to know that everything I've done was worth it. And I will hurt you. And I will do everything in my power to do what it takes to become champion on Day One. And Seth, first he's like, I don't know if I should believe you or if you're full of crap, but I respect you and you've worked your way back at a shot at this championship. But Drew, what makes you think the outcome this time is going to be any different? And then Seth Rollins finishes up by saying, last week, I looked up to CM Punk in the eye and told him, I hate you. And I meant it. Drew, I am looking at you right in the eye right now. I don't hate you. I pity you. And as Seth Rollins goes to leave the ring, Drew McIntyre goes to headbutt him again. They start brawling. Drew McIntyre takes it to the outside, picks up Seth Rollins and drops him with his arm on the ring steps. And at one point, Drew McIntyre grabs Seth Rollins by the head, and you hear him saying, do I look like a man that needs your pity? Do I look like a man that needs your pity? And he leaves Seth Rollins laying. If you pay close attention to what Drew McIntyre said tonight to Seth Rollins, think back to the buildup of Clash at the Castle with Roman Reigns, with his family, and he failed. Then you think back to the buildup with Saudi Arabia against Seth Rollins, that he's got to have this, and he fails again. And as a result of that failure, he starts taking it out on various WWE stars. And Jey Uso is part of the blame because the bloodline cost him at Clash at the Castle. But now it's beyond bloodline business. Now it's all about sacrifice. Everything I have done. And now family members that told me to sacrifice, they're not even here anymore for me to go back to them and say, look what I did. I did it. They're not here anymore. And even when that quick pause with Drew McIntyre, I think he legitimately got choked up by it. And when you really watch that clip again, you try to look beyond and you say to yourself, where does this leave Drew if he loses? Royal Rumble? He ain't winning the Royal Rumble. He's not winning the Chamber. This is his opportunity. And that's why even yesterday, if you look at the synopsis for yesterday's show, look at the first paragraph. Drew McIntyre will be World Heavyweight Champion on January 1. CM Punk will fight Seth Rollins at WrestleMania with no championships on the line. CM Punk will not hold any WWE championships until the summer of 2024 at a minimum. I think all those three coincide with each other because, especially with the Royal Rumble, Seth Rollins is not champion anymore by the Royal Rumble. Seth Rollins could be in the Royal Rumble. Seth Rollins could ultimately eliminate CM Punk from the Royal Rumble. CM Punk is not winning the Royal Rumble. CM Punk will fight Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, no championship on the line. By doing that, CM Punk doesn't need to win the Royal Rumble to face Seth Rollins. That Royal Rumble, as of right now, I believe will either be won by Cody Rhodes or or Sami Zayn. I think if Drew McIntyre wins the belt on January 1, we could very well end up seeing Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. I would prefer it to be the main event in Saudi Arabia, but if that's better as a WrestleMania moment, so be it. But I think Drew McIntyre walks into WrestleMania as World Heavyweight Champion. I know it sounds a little trivial because of what happened with COVID, but I think it's that important, not only for Drew McIntyre, but for WWE as well, to have Drew be able to soak it in as World Heavyweight Champion with live fans. So I'm sticking to it. I thought that segment was very well done tonight. And when you hear the words closely, you can't have Drew lose again. You just can't. And maybe with the injured arm for Seth Rollins, maybe that's where you could see Seth Rollins maybe go for the pedigree and the arm, hurts too much. I mean, it's going to happen in 2 weeks. So your main event tonight was the Creed brothers challenging Finn Balor and Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship. Undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships, wrong title. Rhea Ripley at ringside. And this was done mainly to build up her match with Ivy Nile in 2 weeks. I'm a huge fan of Ivy Nile. I've rooted for her in NXT big time every week back in those watch parties, you know it. I thought Ivy Nile and Rhea Ripley's interaction with each other on Raw tonight was awful. I thought it was clunky. I thought it was just a hot mess. When Rhea Ripley went to hit Ivy Nile and Ivy's like standing there waiting for something and it doesn't come right away. And then Ivy Nile picks up Rhea Ripley and almost looks like they're going to do chicken fights in a pool. And then Ivy Nile like drops Rhea Ripley on the apron. It just looked like a hot mess. Rhea Ripley did not end up being a factor in the championship match, which is very interesting because I thought at minimum, Damian Priest is this close of getting pinned tonight. Rhea Ripley saves his ass. Maybe they had to improvise a little bit because they were running out of time. Because if you go back and you watch when Julius Creed got hit with the South of Heaven from Damian Priest, it was 10:59. So I honestly think they may have run out of time tonight because it felt like it could have gone a little bit longer. But, Judgment Day come out there, Creed brothers, and they have an absolute brawl. Great stare down to open up the match. And the Creed brothers were on fire tonight. I mean, let's not take anything away from Finn Balor and Damian Priest as well. But towards the end of the match, Julius Creed hits a beautiful shooting star press. Michael Cole is making these guys sound like the absolute future of the WWE. The Creeds set up for the Brutus Ball on Finn Balor, but Damian Priest breaks it up. This is when we have that really wonky exchange with Ivy Nile and Rhea Ripley. Ivy now drops Rhea Ripley on the apron, so Rhea Ripley is temporarily out of commission. They set up the Brutus Ball once again, this time onto Damian Priest, and Julius Creed covers Damian Priest, but Finn Balor breaks it up with a coup de grace to his back, and the crowd is chanting, holy shit, holy shit. At one point, Julius Creed dives off the top rope with a cannonball to the outside of the ring to Damian Priest, which honestly looked a little scary, the way Damian Priest landed. You know, I mean, the Creed brothers are getting there, but they're not completely crisp as of yet. But we're now looking at the clock, and it's 10:59. And what happens? You know, Finn Balor is in the ring with Brutus Creed. Julius tags himself in, and Damian Priest, not selling anything that just happened because we're running out of time, tags himself in as well. So now Damian Priest is back in the ring after just being hit with that cannonball outside the ring. And, you know, they hit the Brutus Ball to Damian Priest. They cover him up. Finn Balor hits that coup de grace. And then the next thing you know, here's Damian Priest out of nowhere with the South of Heaven chokeslam to Julius Creed. And he pins him. 1, 2, 3. And they're in the ring, and they got a great camera shot on Ivy now looking a little bit dejected because of it. But this crowd loved this match. I loved the match. Very curious to see what kind of rating it draws tonight. Because remember, it was not that long ago where Finn Balor and Damian Priest took on Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes, and the rating was not very good. I'm curious to see what kind of rating this pops tonight. You know, maybe 1.4 million for the main event. But this main event, you know, one thing that comes out of it is that the Creed brothers are legit. And they gave, believe it or not, I think the Creed brothers were more of a threat to the Judgment Day's tag titles tonight than probably the Street Profits or anybody else recently that the Judgment Day have prevailed. Even when the Judgment Day had the rematch with Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, you know, there was, you know, you get those bullshit finishes, but they really gave them a run for their money tonight. And it's kind of a little bit reminiscent when when the Street Profits took on the Usos. If you remember that match they had with the Usos last year, 2022, and it led to SummerSlam. And we thought SummerSlam, the stars were aligned, that the Street Profits, this is their night. They come out dressed in white, everything leading up to that match. I even think, I don't really care about match ratings, but I think even Meltzer might have given them close to 5 stars, that match before SummerSlam. And it came into SummerSlam, Street Profits could not be on better momentum, and they lost. Now in reflection, we understand why. But I think the Creed brothers right now, there's going to be an added stipulation. Maybe the Judgment Day is banned at ringside. No Dominic Mysterio, no Rhea Ripley, no JD McDonough, although they really were not that much of a factor throughout the night. But in the end, the Judgment Day, they retain, and the Creed brothers get one step closer. Yeah, I get why people compare them to the Steiners. You know, you look at the strength and you look, you know, it's like Brutus Creed kind of reminds some people of Rick Steiner, and it's that raw power. You know, when the Steiners were a lot younger, I think they didn't even realize their own power at times. The Creed brothers, I'm going to be a little bit outside the box with this. They kind of remind me more of the world's greatest tag team. I mean, yes, Brutus Creed is much stockier, but it kind of reminds me more of like Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. Like, I could see Kurt Angle being their manager, and I think it would fucking work great. They kind of remind me of the Steiners meet the world's greatest tag team. But you see that, you know what's great about the Creed brothers? They don't look lost at all. You know, again, that first match that they had with the New Day, I think it was nerves more than anything else, but they don't look lost in that ring. I mean, sometimes they run a little reckless if you pay close attention, but that's what their opponents, their, you know, veteran professionalism, you know, kicks in. they know to improvise and they know to compensate, a little bit of their rawness. That's what veterans do. Veterans know how to work around, a little bit of inexperience. That's what makes champions. But I thought the main event was excellent tonight. They go off the air, no controversy, and, we see where it goes from here. But that was your episode of Raw tonight. I thought it was a great episode. Now, again, I don't know what's going on next Monday. Everybody says that there's tapings tonight. They're in Des Moines, so I think there is a little bit of a time difference. So if there's spoilers tonight, I will not give you spoilers on Saturday, but I'll do a little preview. But keep in mind, since Monday, we've already would have known what went down. Monday's show would be a little bit easier to digest and to even talk about. But tomorrow in NXT, let me give you 2 quick previews, give you a little more of a history. And I got to share something that Bobby Heenan said. I'm probably overthinking it, but I got to say it. Some people might be like, whoa, I never remembered that. I'll explain in a minute. But first, for NXT, tomorrow night, remember, they are taped for tomorrow and next week. Tomorrow, we will have 2 more of the breakout tournament matches, Lexis King versus Dion Lennox, and Tavian Heights versus Luca Crucifino. We'll also have Fallon Henley versus Tiffany Stratton. Dragon Lee will defend the NXT North American Championship versus Charlie Dempsey and Joe Coffey in a 3-way. Nikita Lyons will take on Tatum Paxley. Mark Coffey and Wolfgang will be taking on Hank Walker and Tank Ledger. And as we already know, Ridge Holland makes his return, challenges Ilya for the NXT Heavyweight Championship. And if you tune into Saturday and you saw her online, we had to talk about it because it was trending viral everywhere. It had to be discussed. You know what happened in that match. And it'll play off on TV. Saturday we'll react to it. Was it done in poor taste? Does it mean that Big E might be very close to a return? Could Big E be a surprise in the Royal Rumble? I don't think that's out of the question. I think that is a possibility. If you tune into Saturday's show, you know why I'm saying this. Let's see how it plays out on TV tomorrow. Now, with AEW, interesting enough, and we've brought this up a couple of times over the last 2-3 months, they're getting very slow with their previews. You know their usual weekly preview where it shows all the matches and they have it in one nice thumbnail? More times than not, we go into Tuesday and there's no thumbnail. They just show a couple of individual things, and sure enough, this week, once again, right now, for this coming Dynamite, we have Continental Classic tournament matches: Jon Moxley versus Jay White, Swerve Strickland versus Roosh, Mark Briscoe versus Jay Lethal. We'll have Rio versus Saraya in a match. The winner gets a shot at the AEW Women's World Championship at World's End. Roderick Strong will be taking on Commander. Samoa Joe will be speaking. MJF will be speaking. And that's our preview for Dynamite this Wednesday. Also, for Day 1, as of right now, Day 1's matches are Seth Rollins defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Drew McIntyre. Becky Lynch will be taking on Nia Jax. Rhea Ripley will be defending the Women's World Championship against Ivy Nile. Natty and Tegan Nox will be taking on Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, I believe, to determine the next contenders for the tag titles, which is dopey. And WWE is considering having CM Punk have a match on Day 1. We've already talked about it. CM Punk will be having a few matches at the last week of December. One in Madison Square Garden. I think the other one might be on the West Coast, but he's taking on Dominic Mysterio, which we all knew, just like the Randy Orton formula. If you're going to have CM Punk face anybody who would be healed the most, Dominic Mysterio is the guy. So, and believe it or not, if you go on Dominic's Twitter account tonight, you'll get a kick out of it. CM Punk did an interview recently, and he said, I've been wanting to hit that kid since he was 7, something like that. Dominic Mysterio posted a clip of CM Punk in AEW, and it was a move where CM Punk, I think, fell off the top rope, like he went to like jump and he stumbled, and Dominic Mysterio said, I want you to hit me like that. And Dominic Mysterio actually used the clip from AEW. It's very blurred. And it was done by design, so you could barely make it out that it's an AEW clip. But go check it out if you want a good laugh, because I wonder if that's going to stay up on his social media account. So, Revamp says he said it 2 weeks ago. Great. Kevin and I said it the 2 days after he debuted returned at Survivor Series. Just saying. Just kidding. We're not kidding, but we're just saying. Hey, great minds think alike. That's how I say it. All right. So, very quickly. Now, before I play a couple of clips, here's a quick preview for this week of wrestling history. I will tell you this. I did make one small mistake. I don't think anybody's going to complain about it. Booker T and Steve Austin in the supermarket technically was last week. But I snuck it in because when we did this episode 5-6 years ago, it was right around Christmas, and I kind of put it up a couple of days late. So that's why it's on here. Not even going to explain Goldust. That we also had the night that NWO took over Monday Nitro. Unfortunately, this is the anniversary where Bill Goldberg mule kicked Bret Hart in the head. Anybody remember who dressed up as a reindeer on that TNA clip? Who is that confronting Kurt Angle dressed in a reindeer suit? Does anybody remember? Who dressed up in a reindeer suit on TNA to confront Kurt Angle? Shout out to the first person who knows. Yes, YouTube uploader. AJ Styles. That AJ Styles. CM Punk we talked about earlier. Ice Cream Bar CM Punk. You'll have to tune in what that's all about. Hey, it's the anniversary of Final Battle with Kevin Steen versus El Generico, a.k.a. Sami Zayn. Vladimir Kozlov making his debut. Remember, I love WWE? We had infamous Raw January 20th. Here is, you know what? Before we play the John Cena one, this week in history, we were leading into Starrcade 99. And we had a weird episode of Nitro where Roddy Piper confronted Goldberg. Now, Roddy Piper had like 3 different segments that night. One of the segments, it's only about a minute long, but Roddy Piper is trashing, I guess, Vince Russo's office in the back. Was it Vince Russo? No, it can't be. It was 90. Was it 90? Yeah, was Vince Russo there? It wasn't 99. He was just trashing the back. No, Vince Russo wasn't there yet. So it was just, I guess, Bischoff or the office in the back. He's trashing the back. And for some reason, Roddy Piper is bringing up all of his dead friends. He's talking about Adrian Adonis, Gorilla Monsoon. And this is in WCW Nitro. He's bringing up all his dead friends. And Bobby Heenan, who was on commentary, made a comment. And again, I'm probably just reading too much into it, but keep in mind that this was only a few months after we lost Owen Hart. Anybody remember the name of the pay-per-view Owen Hart passed away at? Anybody remember? WWF Over the Edge? I can't believe, going back to 1999, this was not controversial, even if it was not intended the way it sounded. Listen closely. Listen closely.
Uh-oh. Wait a minute, that's the office of the PTB. Would you look at that office?
Powers to me. How about my friends that are on the road that are dead now, huh? The ones that are in the car. Oh, Vince Russo, wait a second.
Doesn't look like the
Vince Russo was there.
Bret Hart. A2 Brutai, huh? How about Adrian Adonis, who died? He was no phony. How about that? Jimmy, there you go. Gorilla Monsoon, he was no phony. There you go.
Wow. Recounting history as he dismantles the office of the powers that be.
That's not all he's dismantling. He's over the edge now. He's completely lost it.
I love you, Owen.
No.
I love you. the fans!
Bobby Heenan actually said he's over the edge. In 1999, during my hotline, I am 1,000% certain that nobody talked about that. Bobby Heenan is one of the most beloved people in history for me, too. And I would absolutely remember if we read the riot act for Bobby Heenan for saying he's over the edge. And Roddy Piper right before that said, I miss Owen. And Bobby Heenan said, he's over the edge. Does anybody remember that? How fucking mind-blowing is that? I was putting clips together tonight, and I'm like, wait a minute. I looked at the timeline. I'm like, yeah, holy shit. And then I hear Roddy Piper name-dropping Owen, who just died. And Bobby Heenan's like, yeah, he's over the edge. How has that gone by the wrestling world? Have you ever heard anybody bring that up? Mm-mm. Pretty wild. Pretty wild. 24 years later, only picked up on that now. All right. Little comedic one. Here's an innocent little rap. It's only a minute long, but here's a little rap John Cena did this week back in 2002.
Yo, everybody knows that we ninjas in the ancient art of thugonomics. So y'all better learn to love it, cause you know there's no replacing this. The Buccaneers are queer. I'd rather cheer for the Patriots. What? You heard him. Face it. Me and B2, or we a Ranger. I'm half rapper, I'm half sports entertainer. You in danger. You from Tampa, I'm from Boston. New law enforcement, like the 4 horsemen. You short men, you need a cavalry to battle me. I beat you down brutally and watch you die tragically. I beat your dad if you rattle me. I beat your moms. Your sister calls me leprechaun, always after my lucky charm. Physical storm, we tear the throat out your team. We out, but we be back, just like bell-bottom jeans.
It's a rap that I'm sure most of you have never heard before. It's not as usual thugonomics ones, but I figured I'd share it with you. All right, two more. Let's share this one. The night that George W. Bush showed up with Crime Time. Yeah, this happened on WWE TV. Who remembers this?
Hey, good evening. Good evening, my fellow Americans. I appear here tonight on behalf of my friends, Crime Time. You see, not too long ago, a rapper by the name of Kanye West, he started a rumor that George Bush doesn't like black people. I'm here to tell you that could not be farther from the truth. Colin Powell and myself, we're homies. Homies? Condoleezza Rice. Now there's one hot little black bitch. Another famous American I'm down with, George Jefferson. He wrote the Declaration of Independence.
Oh, God, that's so awful.
You know he's my nigga.
Whoa, Georgie boy.
All right.
Whoa.
We could turn it off, right?
Secret Service or not, you will get your ass beat here, right now.
Hey, I'm bad. I gotta say, I want to thank you for keeping me in line. You know, I sometimes get excited and misquote myself.
Misquote myself.
Okay.
All
now, back to business. These, Haas and Benjamin, couple of Fabrizis think they're the greatest tag team in the world.
That's pretty cool. We just talked about Haas and
They're
Benjamin.
the greatest tag team in the world. I reckon that makes me the greatest president in the world, eh?
All right, that's enough. You can check out the rest on the History Show. Yeah, that wasn't that long ago. WWE did, listen, I could say this with the utmost certainty. I think everybody will agree. They have done some of the most awful skits with presidents. They did Hillary Clinton. They did Obama, George W. Bush, Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton might have been my favorite one. When Bill threw Nancy he threw his wife, Hillary, into Umaga. Didn't Umaga splash Hillary? I think so. I think, honestly, probably the Bill Clinton one was the best one of them all. But, yeah, they just, I don't know. And you know what? Actually, the Obama-Hillary match was probably the worst segment that they ever did involving presidents. Yeah, that was just some awful shit. Well, anyway, since it is Christmas, and since the next time we'll be doing this show, it will be Christmas night, I leave you with a quick song that WWE did 11 years ago this week. Let's see if any of the voices sound familiar to you. Merry Christmas, everyone. Much love. If you're part of our Patreon family, I will be live tomorrow. Later on this week, I should have an announcement with regards to some programming changes in 2024. I will be live Saturday on normal schedule, 12 noon. No show on Sunday, but we'll return Monday, normal time after Raw. So, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Dash into the show so we can entertain. All drivers will go. Hope I land on Kane. Funk is on a roll.
When you step into that ring.
Yes, no, okay, yes. I'm not going to sing. Oh, ring the bell, season's here, no doubt. We won't stop until we win. Or I'm gonna knock you out. We go out to compete. All alone or in a pair. I can't eat enough red meat. We fly through the air. I'm the best in this whole world. I know that is not true.
Excuse me, don't you start a fight.
Can you dig it? You sing too. Oh, ring the bell, we hope that you're inspired. If you know what entertain, then we'll say, yeah, fire!
The holidays are truly a time to be thankful for what we have. From our WWE family to yours, happy holidays.
Happy holidays from WWE.
They didn't do one of those this year. Maybe they'll do it on SmackDown. All right, enough already. Night, everybody.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, Nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.